Hi guys, today we are going to learn how to draw a Cosmo. So if I asked you to draw me a flower, I have a feeling a lot of you would probably draw something like this. Not bad, it's pretty adorable, but we can probably do better, right? So we are gonna put that aside. Here is a Cosmo. This is a picture I took from my garden this summer. I have printed it in color as well as black and white. Sometimes with a solid color like this, it's hard to see the lines, and that's what we're looking for, right? We're gonna break these pictures down into the lines because it's just lines. So I printed it in black and white. Sometimes that monotone really helps you see the lines a little bit better. So today I'm going to be doing our outlines with a 2H pencil and do most of the drawing with an HB pencil. You don't need special pencils, draw with whatever you have. I picked the 2H to do our lines just because it'll be a lighter line and easier to erase. And then the HB pencil will give me a good range of lights and darks. So let's get started breaking down the picture. So I think you can probably see what our main shape is going to be here. It's going to be a circle, right? I have this red chalk. I'm only using chalk so that you can see it better. If I draw a pencil line on a black and white drawing, it won't show up very well. So we are just going to get a feel for the shape of our flower. So you can see it's a circle, probably a little bit skewed, a little bit ovally, which is fine. So we are going to translate that to our paper over here and just draw that kind of similarly shaped circle. I came in a little too far over here, not a big deal. Just take that off. All right. Sketching this border too helps you to not just go in and start drawing and then all of a sudden your center is too big and your petals are off the page. This kind of keeps you contained, which I always need help with. I kind of go wild sometimes. So our next step is to make this into a clock. So this clock trick is really useful when you need help deciding where a line is going. So right here, I just drew in the quarters, and then I'm gonna go in these lines. This is approximate. It doesn't have to be exact. We are drawing a plant. Plants are all different, so don't feel like you're gonna make any mistakes here. If you get confused or need to stop, it's just pause, rewind. This is a lesson, you're learning, make mistakes, start over. This is the best way to learn. So I am going to do a very, very light line here, connecting these, because I wanted to show you. Remember over here, we kind of drew that circle that was the middle of the flower, and then the petals went around it. Wanted to show you here, our center is not the center. So that's one of those things, your brain wants to put it right in the middle. And then when you go to draw all your other petals, they're not going to be the right size because your center's not in the right spot. So as you can see, this is kind of the quadrant that we're going. So it's going to be in like the southeast quadrant. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. Right, so if we go, you can see this circle. It does kind of come over a little bit into this one, so we got that over here, and a little bit into the other two. So right about there, that'll be perfect to get our center where it is in the picture and not necessarily in the center of the flower. All right, so the next step is we're going to start adding some petals. Like I showed you here, we kind of made sure each petal was seen, right? Unfortunately, that's not how it is in nature, but that's where we have to train our brain to see different lines. Our brains want to see the whole petal. If we come over here, you'll see there's only 2 of these petals that you can actually see in its entirety. I'm going to trace here with, I'm going to switch to my ebony because it'll write darker. So you can see it here. I'm going to trace this one. You can see the entire leaf, or the entire petal. And down here you can see this one, the entire petal. This is another one. It's probably hard to see in the black and white, but if you look over here, this is a petal and there's a petal behind it. So these are the only 2 petals we can see the whole thing of. So we're gonna go ahead and add those in. I'm gonna switch over to my HB pencil now because my guidelines are in. That's all I was using the 2H for. So this one, we start a little bit off of that 12 o'clock line, come back and touch it, and then head right towards 1 o'clock. So we are gonna start right about here, come up and touch that 12 o'clock, and then head right towards 1 o'clock. Now for the bottom, we're starting right about at that 2 o'clock mark, almost straight, curves out a little bit towards the 3, and then back up. So we're gonna start here, head right towards that 2, a little bit out to the 3, and then up. And as you can see, that's kind of a fun little jaggedy edge. So just do that and switch it up. Okay, number 1 is done. This full one, you can see it starts a little bit to the right of 6 o'clock, comes down, comes up, passes that 7 o'clock a little tiny bit, and then goes up and ends up right about at 8 o'clock. So we're gonna start over here. We're gonna come out a little bit, come down to there. Now we gotta make our way up and then finish up around 8 o'clock. Okay. So now we have 2 of our petals in. Now we're gonna go ahead and fill in the other bigger petals. So this is the next biggest petal. Let me switch again. Comes up here, comes around and down. So that's 1 big petal over here. We're also going to add in this petal that kind of runs underneath the one we just drew over here. So this one, since it finishes over here, we're going to get started in the center. So this is coming off right at 10 o'clock. Pretty much runs straight up, starts to curve, gives a nice jaggedy line, and then rounds its way back, starting at around the 12 o'clock mark. So this one is a bigger leaf, so it's okay that we're taking up a lot of space here. We are gonna go up and towards 10 o'clock, start to round, make that little wavy line. Now we're at 12 o'clock, so we're gonna start to scoop back down. We're gonna jump down to this one. This one joins the center right at about 5 o'clock, but it kind of goes straight down, maybe if it was like 5:30, I guess, and then swoops down. So we are gonna start right about here and then swoop. There's a little bit of jagged petals right there. All right, we are moving right along. Our next petal that we're gonna add in are this petal. I had to reference the color one to see the edges on this, so it's good to have both. You can always go back and forth. So we're gonna do that one, and we're gonna jump over to here. We're gonna come off and do this one. All right, so starting over here, this one is right at 4 o'clock, comes straight on down, curves, and then up and around. So we're gonna come here, curve, do those little edges, and right up there. Then this one comes straight out at 9 o'clock and then starts to curve down at about 8:30 and then comes around down here and comes back up at 7. So we're starting right on that 9 o'clock line, turning down, starting to do that little round edge, and then at 7, coming right back up. All right. We are almost here. So we have this petal over here to do. It's basically just going to bridge across the 2 petals we already have. And then we have 2 petals over here to do. So this is the one that's actually on top. So we'll draw it next. So that one's going to come around like that. And then this one I'll just outline since we're here. And we'll do all 3 of these petals now. So we're going to start over here and finish up this one. So like I said, it just kind of comes up. Don't worry about replicating the exact, you know, ruffles of these petals. It's a plant. They all look different. They're all going to be beautiful. So over here we have the 2 to draw. So this one comes out coming towards 3, tipping down and then swooping around. And it's important to note, this one touches this one at the start. So make sure you start there. Otherwise you'll have a gap that you won't know how to fill when you go to add the other one. Do some ruffles and then back down. And then just this little guy in the back here, he comes up here. And you can see I kind of went outside of my circle. It's okay. These weren't exact. They were just guidelines. So we're all good there. So now for the center, it's really all these little tiny fuzzies. We're not gonna make them work that hard. So we're gonna just kind of take our lines in a little bit to close off. And then we're just gonna draw cute little circles. You can make these as dark as you want. You can make them as blobby as you want, however you like it. All right, so then that kind of replicates the circle through the center here. I'm gonna go in and erase some of these guidelines because we're gonna go in and add our finishing touches. All right, I erased some of these lines. I'm gonna go back in and add my ruffles back in. So this is a pretty cute flower right as it is, but we can make it cuter, right? So if you look over here, there are some lines that come out. That's kind of what connects to these ruffles in the edges. So we're just gonna use this clock again and kind of make all of our shapes come out. So you can see this one has 3 that kind of go between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. So they start at the center and you are aiming for the valleys in your ruffles. So just go up there. Okay. This one looks like it just has 1 little crease running here. So we'll give it that one. This one has a few. This one doesn't go all the way up. So we're going to connect this one to there, and this one to there, and then we'll give them 1 right there. This one we have a few. This one, there's 1 down here. Looks like there's a half one here. And then there's these. There's these. So the direction of the lines matters, right? So the way that it curves changes the shape of the petals. So now we are going to take same pencil. We're just gonna darken the edges here. Just gonna go in and add some lines. We're just trying to make the edge of the petal stand out against the green of the petal that we just added. I'm going to switch to my other ones since those give me a darker dark. And then you can also add, there's a little stem, you can see it comes out right here. So we can cut that with the stem. Definitely go ahead and clean up any edges there. You can also go in and shade it a little further if you'd like. I'm gonna stick with this ebony pencil, just use very, very light pressure, and I'm just gonna shade in. You can see it in this area here, and there's this area here. I'm just going to give it just a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to Come over here and do the same. This is just where the petals are overlapping. So this one's on top and it's casting a shadow underneath it here. This one, this petal is the very furthest underneath, so it probably has the darkest edges. And a little bit of a shadow here, because remember this one's on top. Here's one that needs some shadows in the creases. This one, again, is on top, so any of its edges will have a shadow around it. This one is on top of this one, so we'll do a shadow here. And then this one is on top of this one, so there'll be a shadow here. And then this one is on top of this one, so another shadow there. And you can add just a little bit of shading so you're not so pure white. Ta-da!